Okay.
Baristing.
So you've
running,
literally done it all.
I guess.
Yeah. Literally. Because I saw on your Instagram story you're bartending. Are you serving drinks?
I've been helping bar backing and serving at a couple of restaurants.
Yeah, so you've literally done it all.
Yeah.
Here we go. Renaissance woman over here.
Yeah, I guess.
So you're food running, you're serving, you're living the life. Back in Chicago, people are nice again.
Yeah.
Do you have a need to get back into a restaurant? Is that the plan?
It was the plan. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And at that point in time, I had felt I'd started to feel the fear of getting a little bit older and realizing I'm not 18 anymore and I can't keep hopping from job to job. Like,
Got you.
A year's fine, however long is fine, but I should probably try to find somewhere to settle in. And that fear started creeping up, and I think it's always going to it's always a creeping up feeling now as you get older.
100%, yeah.
So I just started talking to the owners of the restaurant that I was helping out with, and we kind of negotiated a situation where I stepped in as pastry chef there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What restaurant are we talking?
It was called Quixote. It closed about 2 years ago.
Quixote, like the Don?
Yeah.
Okay, got
like,
you.
Agave. Like,
Yeah. Okay. So it closed. Did it close while you were there?
No, I had left a year or so before it closed. That was when I moved out to California.
California.
Yeah.
So how did the California thing all come up?
So at that time, I was dating someone who had worked for Nicholas Romero at Grace and Smith in Chicago.
Got you.
He had left Chicago to go be the chef de cuisine at Manresa.
Understood.
So my boyfriend wanted to go work for him. It was the perfect opportunity for me to go work at Manresa Bread, and kind of at that point I felt like I had specified certain parts of my time in restaurants to certain skill sets in pastry.
Yeah.
And bread was something I never felt like I really had honed in on and really learned the development of. And why certain things can be done certain ways and the process of it all. So it seemed like the best opportunity. Go work for Avery at Manresa Bread, David Kinch, like, fuck me. Yeah.
Badass,
awesome.
Baby. Yeah. Awesome. What position did your boyfriend end up doing?
He was a CDP there.
Okay. Got you. Understood. All right. How long were you at Manresa Bread?
Again, I think about a year.
Okay. And is that because you left California?
No, I once again was like, well, maybe I want to go back into restaurants. I'm very fickle, apparently.
That's indecisiveness. She's like, she realizes it right now, today, on the show. She's like, what have I been doing?
Yeah, my whole career is going to change today, apparently.
We'll see. So what happened?
I started interviewing around and seeing what was out there restaurant-wise. And
in the San Jose area?
So that was kind of the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You're stuck in between a bunch of nothing. Like, you have Santa Cruz 45 minutes away.
Yep.
You have San Francisco an hour and a half away. None of those commutes sound very appealing at that time. So I ended up finding a restaurant in Redwood City, which was about 30 minutes north of San Jose, 40 minutes south of San Francisco.
Okay.
It's called the Village Pub. It has been there for
heard of this place.
A long time. It had been there for almost 20 years, I think. They maintained like their 1 star for 12 years or something. Like, they was part of Bacchus Group, which has Spruce in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Understood.
Yeah.
No.
So they needed a pastry chef.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a tasting and landed
You
the
got
job.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good money, especially for the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Health insurance, which was really cool. And it was the first time I was able to, like, really step into a pastry chef role at that, like, level. Yeah.
Okay.
It was the first, like,
Michelin star. Okay.
And I kind of felt like I was always chasing that. I wanted to get there at some point. I didn't know how or where.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of it had to do with wanting to prove myself to a lot of my friends at the time who had been working in Michelin star restaurants.
Yeah.
Prove I can do that too. Like,
yeah.
I'm not just working at this hole-in-the-wall spot. I can do this.
What year was that?
2019? 2018?
2018.
2018 to 2019.
Because there was a span from, like, I want to say it's, like, right before the pandemic came, where it was, like, if you didn't work in Michelin-star kitchens that you weren't, like, considered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now that's completely changed. And I don't know if it was pandemic or not.
I think so, too. I think it was the pandemic, like, watching that, like, the relevance.
Yeah.
The weight that it holds and the relevance, I think, kind of dissipated because during the pandemic, it was so much like, we'll support independently owned restaurants.
Literally support anyone, even if they suck.
Yeah.
Just go to the restaurant and spend money. A lot of restaurants that were great closed during that time, and I think we'll continue to close because we're still in this.
Yeah.
But it definitely wiped out a lot of bad restaurants.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for those families, but goddamn, something needed to be done. So thankful for that.
I mean, I feel like probably for some families too, it was an out.
Oh yeah, exactly. For that kid that's just like working at the restaurant, like, is this really gonna be my life? And he's like, pandemic came and saved me.
Yeah. It's like, no more.
It took me out. Oh, so let's see. You're working at Man Race of Bread, then you moved to this other spot. How long are you there?
Again, a year.
A year. Okay. Do you go into these places being like, I'm going to stay here for a year, or does it just happen to work out that way?
It just happened to work out. I mean, I feel like I always had, like, heard when I was younger, like, stay somewhere for a year.
Yeah, exactly.
If you feel like you're not learning something, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And weirdly, a lot of the times, it just lined up with these conversations I would have with people and just being hungry and being like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, I think I have learned everything I need from this space, and you're offering me this job at this other restaurant for this other chef I've been, like, really into and interested in, and I like their food. I'm going to go work for them.
Yeah.
So just kind of hopped around, and leaving the Village Pub was because I'd started talking with Joe Flam about Rosemary. While I was working at the Village Pub, my mom had gotten diagnosed with breast cancer. And living across the country from her during that was really hard.
Yeah.
And
you feel selfish.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm doing this for my career, but also the fucking people that matters. Yeah.
Yeah, and both my parents were like, well, you're not going to do anything if you're here. Like, it's not going to make a difference. So stay there, keep doing what you're doing. And then I'd heard Joe had actually come out to San Jose for an event, and I took him for beers, and we started talking.
Did you know him from the Chicago days?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
We always had crossed paths, just...
When did you first meet Joe?
Probably almost a decade ago.
Okay. Yeah. Was it a restaurant or just out for beers?
Out for beers, because he had been working for Stephanie and then Bill Kim, and we all would go to the same bars and cross paths.
I will say that Chicago, you guys got a tight-knit community of cooks and chefs.
Yes.
Like, everyone knows each other. Everyone has nothing but nice things to say about each other. Like, it's a really cool community.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I think being in California and even in Boston, it was eye-opening how much a lot of other cities lack.
Yeah,
that.
Exactly. Wow. So you start talking to Joe, and is he like, hey, I'm poaching you?
Yeah, he was like...
Basically, he's like, I need this to work.
I mean, basically, I had to sell him on the position.
Okay, I see.
We were shooting the shit. He had mentioned, like, how he was going to start opening up his own thing, and that was in the works, and a couple of phone conversations occurred, and it was just like, I'm ready to come back home. I kind of need a reason work-wise to come back home. I don't know what that is, but what do you got going on?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't really think this restaurant needs a pastry chef or a pastry department, but, like, I think we could put you in place where you would be a sous chef and kind of do pastry at the same time.
Okay.
And it would help us, because he's like, I think it would be really nice to put your background to use and not take advantage of it, but use it to our advantage also at the same time. And I think it'll be nice for you, since it seems like you hop back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
Seems like a happy marriage.
Mm-hmm.
bunch of negotiation, talking, conversations, and we kind of nailed it down where, I mean, I also selfishly said, I'll be your sous chef and do the pastries, but I do want to be your pastry chef because that's the career-making move for me.
Yeah.
This is the first time I can really get my name out there.
And say that I'm pastry chef here.
Yeah, and
got you.
We got the traction from Top Chef. Like, Joe Flam's a name that people are into. It's a restaurant they want to go to, they're excited about, so this is kind of my time.
Okay. I'd probably say him and Harold, winner of season 1, my favorite winners.
Yeah.
Harold's the OG. So, but now you're not at Rosemary anymore.
No,
right?
Anymore.
Correct. How long was your tenure at Rosemary?
I
Total.
opened it in April 2021, and I left September 2021.
Got you. What prompted that move?
It was a mutual parting.
Okay.
Just was not the right fit.
Got you.
I don't think it was ready for someone to want to be in. I mean, looking back, obviously when we decided to part ways, I was upset, and it was hard because I love Joe and I love the restaurant and I want nothing but the best for him in that space. But looking back, I'm like, we did have the conversation where you didn't really need a pastry chef, and we kind of realized that, like, it was a new restaurant with growing pains, and having someone there focused on just creativity and developing gelato flavors and plated desserts was not what they needed at that time. They needed someone who can just push out production.
Well, I gotta say, from eating the pistachio gelato that you guys have there, it was worth it.
Oh,
the R&D and shit, because I was like eating that shit. I was like, how do you get this much pistachio flavor in this thing?
I'll never tell.
All right? And I'm sitting there eating this, and I'm like, she needs to be on the podcast. Definitely. I need to know. But sadly, we won't find out today. So what's next for you?
So I kind of just took a break and have been enjoying some free time, some quality time with my dogs, because at that time, working and opening Rosemary, it was a lot.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
I'd have multiple dog walkers a day, and my dogs started to look at me and act like they didn't know who I was anymore.
Oh,
that was
must have been heartbreaking.
Oh, it was horrible. They'd come home and, like, just see me, and then, like, we go to bed. I wake up, and as soon as I start putting my shoes on, I just get the stare, the look of, like, you're leaving again. You fucking suck.
Wow.
So I've just been enjoying my time with them, and honestly, the timing was nice. I got my last, like, month of summer in Chicago.
Yeah.
Been enjoying the fall weather, except for today, which is very rainy and gloomy.
I brought the rain with me.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And then I kind of started to reflect and just, do I want to keep working in kitchens? How do I feel about this? And I got approached by a friend who is opening like, she's technically like the beverage director of a company that owns one operating space currently. And they are opening a couple of more. They just bought 3 or 4 different properties that they're in the process of developing and opening. And at first I had talked to her just about bartending. It's like, just bartend. Like, I just kind of want to go into work and not have responsibility.
Exactly.
And do my shit and leave and be happy. And that was kind of the idea until one day she called me. It was a super, like, ominous, like, no detail phone call. I was just like, hey, can we meet for coffee? It's like, oh, no. You're changing your mind about hiring me, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
And we meet for coffee, and she starts to talk to me about a space they had purchased and how they want to turn it into an all-day cafe, and they need someone to run it, and they don't want a cis white male chef. They want a female, like,
fucking powerhouse butcher pastry cook fucking there you go. That's going to be the name of the episode.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, and she was just like, we were looking elsewhere, like, kind of seeing who was out there, since a lot of people still aren't working right now.
Yeah.
And then Christina was like, I then realized we had someone hired that could do that, and that's you. If you're willing to go back into kitchens, I don't know how you feel about it. And I took a couple days thinking it over, and